15 minutes past 5, the 3rd of July, 1999. What you heard right behind you were the sound of Bofors guns directly targeting the top of Tiger Hills, the prelude to the final assault. Also going on simultaneously are multi-barrel rocket launchers also attacking the same positions on Tiger Hills.
At the moment we are running for cover. We just had a shell land very close to us. I doubt if you were able to see anything. That was another shell. Careful, careful. Now we really are going into the bunker.
After 11 hours of near continuous fighting and heavy exchange of fire, Tiger Hills finally looks like it belongs to India once again.
हम शांति चाहते हैं, ये तो दुनिया ने देखा. अब दुनिया ये देखेगी कि हम शांति की रक्षा के लिए और अपनी शक्ति का भी प्रदर्शन कर सकते हैं.
So hey guys, welcome back to this channel on Talk with Tyson. Well, just to begin, I would like to tell you something very interesting today. Many people have fought for the independence and even for liberation, whether it is for the country or for their state. And it is very hard to preserve this freedom of the state or of the country at large. Many have fought for one such freedom, and that is the Kargil War. And today is the day we celebrate. That is the 26th of July. The day is called as the Kargil Vijay Diwas. And today before us we have one such great personality who was present during that Kargil War. None other than Colonel Austin Colasso. Sir, we welcome you on our show. And
thank you, Tyson.
Yes, and it's an honor actually. In fact, I've been always watching interesting movies, but it's like a dream come true. I'm getting to interview one such personality who at times we get this fire within us that yes, even I would like to be in that front line, but you have been one such person who has been in the front line, and like they say, we can rest while
Correct.
You are fighting over there at the border. So thank you for giving us your time.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure.
And I would also like to thank Colonel Noel Goodwin for giving us the contact of Colonel Austin Colasso. So if we can start with the questions.
My pleasure.
Yes. So the first question, can you tell us about your journey in the army?
Yeah. Well, Tyson, I joined the army in December 1985. We belong to Shillong, but born, brought up in Bombay.
Okay.
And thereafter, I appeared for the Combined Defence Service examination, which was in 84.
Okay.
And thereafter, in 84, once the results came out, I appeared for the UPSC written exam, cleared that, went for the SSB, Service Selection Board interview, cleared that, went for my medicals, which is quite strict.
Okay.
From head to toe, they examine you inside out.
Wow.
So, cleared that too.
Okay.
And then finally waited for about a month for the final merit list to come out, because there are certain vacancies that are generally allotted on each course.
Okay.
So I think if I recollect correctly, it was about 370 for our batch in the Indian Military Academy at Dehradun.
Okay.
So luckily my name figured in that list, and
Wow.
I joined the academy on 14 September to 1984, correct, yeah, 1984.
Okay.
And that was a year and a half's training, so that's 18 months in fact.
Okay.
So this is the IMA 77 regular course that is there,
Okay.
which is of a year and a half. And we have 3 terms at the Indian Military Academy.
Okay.
In the second term, the first term is basics, what they teach you, basically military tactics and discipline and drill and weapon training and all that. But from the second term onwards, which each term is of 6 months,
Okay.
and the total duration is 3 terms, that is of 18 months. We are joined by the officers from the gentlemen cadets from the NDA, that is the National Academy, Colossal.
Okay.
And then we merge together, and then the second and third term is basically a common thing for us.
Okay.
Term.
Okay.
And December 85, 14 December 85 was my commission date, where we got the commission from the President of India that time, Mr. Zayal Singh. He was the President. And then we get our arms and all that, basically based on your merit and how you perform and what are your choices and all that. So I had opted for infantry, basically. I'm from the infantry. And I got the Bihar regiment that is there.
Okay.
So we have various regiments, like there we have the Sikh regiment, we have the Maratha light infantry, we have the Sikh regiment, we have the Mahar regiment, the Assam regiment. So one of these regiments is Bihar, which I was allotted. And I was initially commissioned into 2nd Bihar. And later on, there was a change of panel and I was posted to 12 Bihar. So at that time, the first posting of mine was in a place called Binagudi. That's in West Bengal. So that was my initial, but I stayed there only for 6 months when I got a change. And then I had to go to the high altitude area, which is in Kashmir. So that's my journey right up till my initial commissioning days. Thereafter, we did a lot of courses and all that which are required of an infantry officer. We did the young officers course, we did the commando course. Then I did my mountaineering course. I did my advanced and basic both courses there. I did the electronic warfare course, the junior command course. And thereafter, in August 2011, I basically took premature and came out of the army as a colonel after that. And thereafter, we settled down in Goa. My wife's a teacher over here, and my children both settled down, both IT youngsters right now. And so we are right now all staying in Goa.
Whoa. Wow. That's a pretty lot of courses to go through. I don't think so even Udemy will able to. I'm sorry about Udemy, but that's a heavens of loads of lot of courses. Well, moving on to the second question that we have for you today. If you could describe briefly the situation during the Kargil War and what was your role in Kargil War in 1999 and how was the situation there?
Okay. As you all are aware, Kargil happened in around May 1999. Yeah, May 99. It was basically a 2 months battle, and finally on 26 July, we won the lost territory that was there. So basically, what had happened is that time I was an instructor at High Altitude Warfare School.
Okay.
So for whatever reason that was there, all the boys that were deployed in Kargil operations, they had to undertake this course at High Altitude Warfare School. So it was basically a mountaineering course. So it was basically we to teach them how to climb rocks, or the various gadgets that are used over there, how to get deployed, and then the tactics which evolved while fighting in the mountains and on icy peaks that were there. Because Kargil, as you are aware, is basically between Kashmir and Zojila, Kashmir and Daras, or what you call Leh. So, and what happened is that area that the Pakistanis had deployed themselves in was basically a winter vacated area. So basically what happens during winters, the troops, they fall back because that becomes inhospitable. So you can't stay there because of the height, because of the weather conditions. So it is not really advisable to stay there. So we fall back to lower heights over there. So that is when, and generally when the snow starts melting in May, June, that is there, then we go back to the original positions that are there on these heights. So there you have the LAC, basically the line of control is on that area. So that's under dispute as it is. So this time what had happened, the snow melted a bit early. So they took that opportunity and around April, May, they started deploying themselves. They said that it was the Mujahideens that were occupying the area and it was not the regular army. But this was very much the regular army, the Pakistan army that was deployed over there. So they took that advantage, and then we had these Bakarwals, these shepherds that are there in those areas, who generally when the snow melts, they take their herds and go up to the mountains for grazing. So they came back and told the formation commander down below, the troops and all that are there, that they are Pakistanis sitting on top. So then we had our own intelligence and all that. There was a slight intelligence failure also, but not this thing that We found out, and then yes, they were sitting and they had occupied our area over there. So that's what then in May it happened that the decision was taken that they have to be obstruct from there and driven back, and we had to regain our lost territory which they have occupied over there. And that's when the Kargil operations took place, and it was quite a battle over there. And I, being in the instructor at High Altitude Warfare School, we were made to lay ropes over there. In a sense, ki all these mountain ridges and the heights were there, they were quite steep. And since they were on top, they had a better advantage.
Correct.
So their observation, their firing was all this thing, and they could control the access of the road access between Zojila and Leh that was there.
Oh, okay.
So they were at an upper hand over there. So in any case, we had to attack those areas physically. We had used artillery. Artillery is basically a long range weapon that is there. The Bofors for that, if you are aware of, Bofors was used as a weapon over there. But again, those being heights, so the shells that were there either would fall short or would go over the mountain range.
Correct. I understand.
But they were sitting on a mountain range, so that pinpointing was a problem. Then the Bofors started firing in direct firing roles. That is straight, without using the trajectory of the gun or the shell. They were firing directly, that is straight. A point A to point B, it would just hit like that. So that way they met with a lot of success in that. Then for strafing, we had used the Air Force also to soften the targets and all that. So Air Force played a major role in softening the targets and destroying the heights that are there. But ultimately it was the infantry which had to physically go climb those mountains, go on top, clear those bunkers, those areas that were there, and basically then occupy them. So our role there as instructors from high altitude was to lead these ropes. So each rope consisted of about 4 to 5 men who were roped together.
Okay.
So then we had to lay the ropes further up to the height, required height that was there. So there we used these carabiners and pitons were there. We had to fix them on the rocks, lay the rope so that the next party coming in could make use of that rope and climb further without wasting time in laying the ropes that were. So the conditions were bad. It was snowing also, it was windy also. Your equipment was quite cold, you could not operate properly. But in those conditions we had to work, and most of the work was done at nights only, because day visibility was there, so we could not take that chance.
Even if there was moonlight?
Yes.
Oh.
We had to do it at the night only, because generally the attacks were coming up early in the morning, maybe at 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, depending on how fast we lay the ropes that are there. So there we used all these carabiners and these pitons. Now noise was a problem over there, so we had to muffle the noises that were there. So the hammer, these carabiners and these pitons were all metal. The hammer was metal, so we had to muffle those. We had to put some cloth or something, tie them on the hammer head, so that noise is not there. So that's how we laid the ropes, and then the troops further used those ropes and reached the top and then attacked. And then thereafter they mopped the area and then occupied those areas.
Well, the third question, and this is a little bit detailed. So on Kargil Vijay Diwas, that is on July 26th, every state, they proudly honor those from their state who fought for the Kargil. Somehow in Goa, we never see the government facilitating Kargil heroes on 26th July. Were you on any of this Kargil War veterans felicitation?
No, per se, as far as felicitations is concerned, I don't remember any of the Kargil war veterans or even the serving people, if they are serving right now also, were ever honored by them. But then we have a department of Scenic Welfare, which does a sort of a candle vigil every year at the Azad Maidan in Panjim. Besides that, sometimes the NCC also does organize something, but per se from the state government side, there has not been any honor for the veterans of the Kargil Diwas.
So, and can you tell us something about other Goans in Operation Vijay?
As far as we have many armed forces officers and even soldiers from Goa in the Army, Navy, and the Air Force. I have not come across many of them, but yeah, we have a few of them. Like we had General Rodriguez over here, the ex-army chief, who expired lately. He was settled in Porvorim. He's from Goa. We have the Navy chief, uh, Admiral Mehta. He's also settled down in Goa. There are quite a few high-ranking officers also who are settled in Porvorim mostly.
Okay.
We had lately lost Brigadier Ian de Costa, who's from Saligaon.
Okay.
Then we have General Pinto was there. Barreto, sorry. He's also no more now. A lot of retired officers are staying, veterans are staying in Porvorim, that area.
Okay.
As far as serving officers right now are concerned, I just know a couple of them. We had lately we had General Fernandez, who was promoted to a lieutenant general. Then we had General, we have in fact still living, General Ian Cardozo is there, a Gorkha officer who's very famous for, who was called the one leg general, who amputated his leg in the operations, I think 71 operations if I'm not wrong,
Okay.
because he was injured on his leg and he was commanding a battalion that time. So he just, with his own kukri, that is like a koita, what we have, he just cut off his leg and then commanded his troops thereafter. His son also was there, who took part in the Parvanu operations. There was a ropeway over there where the trolley was stuck. So I'm forgetting his name, but he also was there. He was in the special forces that is there. So there are quite a lot of, quite a few of them in the armed forces. But one thing that I like to tell you was basically they are mostly those officers who have been staying out of Goa, who may be in Bombay, Pune, Belgaum, or these areas that are there. Not very many from Goa itself get into the armed forces. Maybe the awareness is not there.
Okay.
People are not aware of the procedures, how to join the armed forces, maybe the officer cadre that are there, that is there. So that we may be lacking as far as the awareness is concerned. That's why. So people outside, like in Maharashtra and all that, they do enter the armed forces.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Goans.
Goans, yeah. So these were the ones who were there in this Operation Vijay.
No, they were not exactly there in Operation Vijay. As far as Operation Vijay is concerned, I only remember Colonel Jesus is there from Madgaon.
Okay.
He was one officer, and I don't remember any other. I have not come across any other officer from Goa
Okay.
in Kargil.
Cool. Your next question is, now recently we see lot of politicians targeting Catholics as being less patriotic, and recently we have seen some leaders like kind of intentionally pointing to reprinting of books like Denationalization of Goans by Dr. T.B. Kunam. Some keep saying that conversion leads to less patriotism, and however, from statistics we see and we just heard it, it seems that there is 80 to 90% of Goans in the Indian armed forces as commissioned officers as who are Catholics. Now the question goes, what would you say about the contribution of Goan Catholic to the armed forces and the country?
No, as far as the Goan officers are concerned, I think the contribution towards the armed forces has been immense. We have many high-ranking officers in the armed forces, be it the Air Force, the Navy, or the Army that is there. So our contribution has been immense. It is not that we are not patriotic. We are quite patriotic, but maybe the people are not aware of it. It has not been sort of brought to the notice of the population or the Goans that are there. But no, we have contributed immensely towards the armed forces. And see, we have the Navy over here is a big establishment.
Correct.
Called at the Dabolim area, where the Hansa is located. We have the Mandavi in Vere over here, which is another naval establishment, which has the Naval High Command functioning there, which has the Marcos, which is the Marine Commandos establishment over there. But then again, towards the Navy, we have seen our reactions are quite, what you call, negative towards them.
Okay.
We don't want the Navy to flourish in Goa. Same thing, like Double M, you are aware of the cases that are over there on the high-rise buildings in and around Double M Airport.
Correct.
So it is not that it is the Navy doesn't want it to happen that way. It is basically the MOD that is there. There are instructions laid down that in certain tunnel of flight, that is there, the flight path, it should not be bent. It's not only in Goa, it's everywhere. So it doesn't mean that if we have less land in Goa, it doesn't mean that we violate all these. It concerns the safety of the people over there. Leave alone the safety of the aircraft and the pilots, also the civilians over there. Because one aircraft going into the civil area or banging into a building or crashing into a building, you can anticipate the destruction that would be there. But then people are not really this thing. The politicians are not really helping in this matter.
Okay.
They should be the ones who really know the cause, know the reasons and all that, and explain it to people. But here it is the other way around. It is ulta. Here they are taking up a cause where they don't want the Navy to function over there. So that is a very big training establishment for the Indian Navy that is there at Double M.
Okay.
They have made a ramp and all that. Basically, the aircraft carriers, the training of those aircrafts that are there, are all conducted at the Double M Airport. So basically, these people are not aware of what is happening over here in Goa. And same thing with the army. Like you see the care, the respect that the armed forces personnel get in, say, Punjab, Haryana, northern states, or maybe in Maharashtra also that are there. So that doesn't happen over here, which is basically because people are not aware of the armed forces, their roles, and what is their duties and all that is there. So I think that awareness should come up a bit over here. As far as patriotism is concerned, I have no doubts about it, that the Goans are very patriotic. And yes, we have most of the officers you read by the book, or you see your records, your statistics that is there. Yes, they are Catholics. There is no doubt about that. But let's not get into the politics of the whole thing that is there. Goans, more so Catholics, are patriotic. There is no doubt about that.
Okay, that's well established by that. And lastly, your advice to the Goan youths.
Yeah, join the armed forces. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of it's one thing is wearing the uniform and donning the uniform is a very proud moment in one's life. Everybody doesn't. Firstly, to get into the armed forces is not a cakewalk. It's quite difficult to get in. There are a lot of exams, a lot of preparations going on. We are not saying that the IAS or the armed civil services is any better, any easier to get through. But no, this is a good career. Once one make it a choice, once give it a try, and see how it works out for you. The salaries are good, the pays are good, the work is good, and there's a lot of respect, and there's a lot of discipline that is involved. That makes you a good man, makes you a good human being, a good family man, a good leader. So there's a lot of things that are there which are in favor of joining the armed forces. So one thing is that you just do what you have to do. Ultimately, you will be doing that only. But you must look at the opportunity the armed forces also offers you. Besides that, there's nothing much. Ultimately, it is your career. What you decide is what you decide. But the armed forces is definitely a good choice, and one must give it a try.
Well said. So with this, we come to an end of this session today. Colonel Austin Colasso, and whatever you have, your respects for Colonel or even for many other armed forces men, well, you can mention it down there in the comment section. And the message is very loud and clear. You can join the armed forces, contribute in your way. It's a proud moment for the state, for the country at large as well. And Sir has given a wonderful image of how the whole situation was there in the Kargil War. And yes, we come to an end with this session today, and hopefully we have some people who are inspired, especially the youth, to join the armed forces. And thank you very much, sir, for
Thank you,
giving
Tyson.
us.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
It was an honor and pleasure.
I wish to see some more guys joining the armed forces now.
Oh, yes, true.
I hope I motivated them.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
And yes, do subscribe to our channel, and we will see you soon. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.